Hello, hi everyone. Um, can I say it's been a very tiring 24 hours? I'm recording this on the 15th, which is the very day that the Sword and Shield um, spoiler ban was dropped on Nuz forums. So, there's no more spoilers. It's been a month since the games came out. So I don't think I have to keep this marked as spoilers anymore. I think I can actually take it down, take down the spoiler banner and whatever. I guess I could keep it up for people, but you know, at this point the spoiler ban has officially dropped. So yeah, guess it doesn't really matter. Um, so today we have a comment again from Destiny Dragon GS. Nice to see you. Um, and we'll start off with that. Here we go. Here's the comment. Sorry I'm late. Shit happened. That's okay. Blaze Blue is just an anomaly in general, which is why I called the situation interesting. The moment you said there's a controversy other than problems with the game, I immediately said to myself, this is going to be really stupid. Shock of all shocks, I was right. Thank you for handling the situation maturely, because as you know, that's pretty rare nowadays. I agree Johnny is a great creator, my favorite YouTuber in general. Is it sad that I forgot Team Yell existed? I know I said I'd follow up on the XP share, but that would have me go way off track, so I'll leave it as is unless you really want me to get into it. I'd make another Void joke, but they pretty much write themselves at this point. The gym puzzle in a nutshell. You two need to work together to catch a Pokemon. Trainers proceed to start killing each other while the wild Pokemon backs away very slowly. I'll try to do one of these, just not on CF, for the previously stated reasons and because I've just worn myself out on the topic, and I want to talk about a game I actually like. If I'm going to talk about it, it's going to be for context about another game. Alright, well, thank you for your comment. Um, I guess first off, well, I don't know much about Blaze Blue personally. I know it's a pretty popular anime fighter game. Um, Though technically, I don't. I think the game came out first. I think any anime of it came out second because I'm pretty sure Blaze Blue. Uh, you tell me. I don't personally know. I've never played one, but I am aware that they are very popular. Um, I'm just not a fighting game person. Whenever I usually buy a fighting game, it's because of something I like outside of the game. Like I buy the Injustice series because, well, I like superheroes and I also like DC Comics. So yeah, I'm gonna buy, Injustice, and plus I usually buy them for the single player content anyway. I'm usually not a person who plays fighting games. They're just too complex, and I don't have the time or the. Even then, though, I like RPGs, which are almost equally as complex in a different way. But I guess I don't understand fighting games like I understand RPGs. I'm more for slow games, and yeah, that's just me. Um, I do appreciate the comment on the Nessa thing. Yeah, I wanted to really just be as neutral as I could because really that is my general take on the topic of how people have portrayed her character outside of the game. Uh, I'm very neutral. I just think that it's dumb that people are taking the time out of their lives to focus on it. She's not real, and it's like, and both sides are to blame ultimately. Yeah, I guess that's really centrist of me, I guess, but in reality, it's the truth. Both sides are to blame for perpetuating this problem, and it's honestly just a waste of time. Um, the fact that people are even focusing on this problem instead of just ignoring it and moving on, you know, because it really isn't a problem. People are going to be bigots and people are going to be assholes. And the best way to deal with that is to just remove that from your life and just ignore it. Then it can't affect you. But, people don't do that. So, I guess, but, yeah, it does kind of piss me off that, people are going around making mods to just make her skin color white. It's like, why are you wasting your time doing that? You could be adding Pokemon to this game. You could be doing something that's actually important, but you decide to you decide to change her skin color just to anger some people. You know, shit like that. It's just like, I don't laugh at it. I just look and I wonder, it's like, what was the point? What was the point of it? But yeah, I tried. I really didn't want to because it's like I wanted to talk about the situation because it is a relatively important topic, and I wanted to discuss it in general because I figured it was important enough, to point out. So I'm glad you thought it was handled maturely. I just tried to do the best I could, to just, you know, keep everything neutral, you know. But yeah, my take on it is it's really dumb. People really should not be expending their energy focusing on it. It's just dumb. Um, Also, yes, Johnny is a great creator. He's also my favorite YouTuber. I love his content. He's just a really down to earth guy. Kind of extremely underrated, but there is a part of me that likes the fact that he kind of has it's like a big following, but it's also still tight knit. That you can tell that this community really loves Johnny. So, yeah, I like Johnny. He's a great creator. Um, and on the thing about that it said the team yell that you forgot that they existed. I wish I could forget that they exist. I'll be honest here. They're just not funny. They're really not. Like, look, I continue to play this game, and, like, every Team Yell encounter just kind of has me groaning because I really don't want to talk about them anymore. Yeah, they're such a pointless team, both design-wise and honestly just concept-wise. They're not even really an evil team if you think about it. They're more of a nuisance. At least Team Skull was kind of a threat, but these guys are just annoying. All they do is bother people. They don't actually cause any physical harm to anything. They're just goobers. Um, if you want to follow up on the XP share, that's entirely up to you. I wouldn't mind it personally. I know I'm not a fan of the system. I'm not a fan of just the way that... one of the big things for me is just the way that when you get experience, fucking thing takes up almost the entire fucking screen. And I can't get down with that. I had a discussion with people in general chat, and nobody else seems to really be bothered by it, but I don't know. There's just something about it that's just really jarring and annoying to my eyes. So, but if you want to get into the XP share, I'd be down for that. I'd totally be down with discussing that, because it's just a feature I think makes this game worse. Not, not that it's, it's just the fact that it's forced that makes it worse. If it wasn't forced, I don't think I'd be complaining about it. But the thing is, you can't turn it off, and I don't like that. When you're forced into a feature that makes things easier, it's just like, I don't know. I don't really like it. That's just my thoughts on that. Yeah, the Void jokes really are writing themselves. Yeah, this is the last Void thing I think I'm posting. Because I'm so tired of it. In all honesty, yeah, I'll get this right out of the way. Yes, it is. I'm basically aware all of the gyms have voids for their battlefields, and at this point, I can't care anymore to record them. They're just so fucking dull at this point that it's just like, I'm not going to even take the time because it's just the same joke at this point. It's the same joke. I've only been trying to record them as proof or whatever, but I think I have enough proof with the fact that the first 3 gyms do it, that it's like, I think it's pretty standard all the gyms do it. And if one gym doesn't do it, then that is incredibly fucking just, that would also hurt me because the consistency with that, but it's just not a fan of it. Not a fan of the voids. And, yeah, and I just really... I really just don't want to fucking see this happen again. I really don't want to see this in another Pokemon game. I don't want to see fucking voids for backgrounds. Okay, we are way past that stage technology wise. That it's like it's inexcusable. I know I repeat myself and I say these phrases a lot, but it really is. It's inexcusable for a $60 video game. Yeah, this type of shit just does not work. Does not work for that. Yeah, the gym puzzle was funny. Uh, you know, honestly, I think the gym puzzles themselves are probably the best part about this game. So far, they seem to be pretty unique. I think the only one that seemed kind of basic was Nessa's. Was Nessa and the water gyms because it was kind of just a basic maze, and we've had those in Pokemon before, so it's not entirely new. It's not a concept that hasn't been done. So, yeah, thinking on that, yeah, yeah. And hey, I mean, totally do one of these. I'd say, a lot of people in the general discussion tell me that I shouldn't be doing this. And I understand. I'm not going to, rag on people for saying that. They're telling me that it's very unhealthy for me that I'm spending my time doing this. But there's a part of me that feels like it's necessary because, one, as someone who's played this franchise since the age of 4 and is nearing the age of 20, um, yeah, and as someone who's played pretty much every entry into the series, I think the only entries I haven't fully played are the original Gold and the original Gen 2. I've played parts of Gen 2, but I have not fully played Gen 2. But every other generation I have played. The only game I think the only mainline game that I refuse to play is, not Sword and Shield, is Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and I'm calling it a mainline game because they're treating it as a mainline game, especially considering a good amount of its features are in this game. Um, yeah, that's the only game I refuse to buy because Sword and Shield I don't like. It's my least favorite Pokemon game. Let's Go just disgusts me on an entirely different level, as it has less content than a GBA game from more than 10 years ago that does a better job than the Nintendo Switch game. You would be better off buying Fire Red and Leaf Green than you would with Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. You would. You would just be better off. You have way more Pokemon to capture. Yeah, there's a lot more content, and you actually have abilities. you know, and you can fight wild Pokemon. Let's Go just disgusts me because it's a $60 phone game being sold to children. It's padding. It's pandering and just on such a fucking intrinsic level that it's just so disgusting to me that I don't ever plan on covering Let's Go. Ever. And I do plan on doing a Pokemon retrospective after I finish the Sword and Shield stuff because I kind of want to go through the series, and discuss, the various generations. But Let's Go is the only game I do not want to cover, like, at all. I don't want to cover it because it just disgusts me. It disgusts me more than Sword and Shield, just from concept alone. Because at least Sword and Shield is a Pokemon game. It has wild battles, and it has a lot more going for it than Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. If you have to buy your kids, and I'm just saying this for anybody listening, if you have to buy your kids a Pokemon game this year for the Nintendo Switch, have it be Sword and Shield. Don't have it be Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Your kids deserve better than that. They really do. They do not deserve a $60 phone game. They deserve an actual game. At least Sword and Shield is an actual fucking game. And considering I don't like Sword and Shield very much, I think that says a lot. So let's move on, because I've spent like 14 minutes on comments alone. Then again, I think comments are really what fill out most of this stuff because, well, when it comes to these sessions, they're getting a lot shorter, which makes sense because the wild area isn't very big in reality. So it was natural that this was going to get shorter, and I expect sessions to get even shorter, and eventually they'll just wind up in more video. Like, we'll probably wind up getting like 3 to 4 sessions in a video. That's like by the end of this series. Right now we're getting to 2 a video. So, okay, so let's start with session 8. For once, I was able to start session 8 in the middle of the day, which, if you don't know, I do most of my sessions at night after work. That's just how I do things. But I was off, and I wanted to experience the daytime stuff, and I did get to experience a little bit of it, but I also was basically forced into doing other shit at the same time. So, after you beat Kabu, an entirely new section of the an entirely new section of the wild area opens up. It's essentially it's the second. You can technically go there before you beat Kabu, but you can't catch anything there. You can't you can't do much of anything there. So, so after beating Kabu and getting the rank up for the catching Pokemon thing, which I still don't get, honestly, yes, you can basically go over there and start catching Pokemon. So that is what I did. I caught myself a Snorlax. I think, though, I caught it in the first major wild area section, and that's what I did. So I caught myself a Snorlax because I really do like Snorlax. It's a very good tank Pokemon. And now I entered into the second wild area, and I got my first raid battle, and I think it was against it wasn't Shiinotic, because Shiinotic's the evolution. Let me look it up. It wasn't Shiinotic. It was Morlul. My first raid battle was Morlul. I didn't catch it because, again, I've never really been a fan of Morlul. I don't hate it, mind you. I just not really a fan of it. I don't really care very much about it. It kind of just exists in my eyes. So, didn't feel like catching it. But we were introduced to barriers, which isn't very interesting, I suppose. I wrote, barriers kind of seem like padding to something that's already relatively slow, because Dynamax itself is slow. The whole, and we've gone over that before. But the barriers just make it even slower, because eventually you lose your Dynamax before the barrier comes down. So you have to, rely on just not, just yourself. And, like, I'm not really a fan. I'm not really a fan of it, personally. It just makes what are already very slow battles a lot slower, and kind of just makes them worse. So, yeah. What the fuck are these notes, man? Oh. I believe, yeah, that's what happened. Okay, so I evolved. What happened is I evolved Zippo. I don't know if I did that last time or if I did that this time. I think I did it this time. But, give me just 1 second. Just 1 second. I am on Bulbapedia today. Instead of, actually, yeah, I should just be on Cerebi because Cerebi is a lot easier to use in this regard. There we go. Ah, god damn it. Okay, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Galar Pokedex. Okay, it should be early on. Okay, so I had Zippo evolve from a Dottler into a Orbeetle, and I really like Orbeetle. It's a very good design. I don't know if I, and then I went to the general chat. Ah ha 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 ha, goober. Okay, I don't know if he evolved last time or if he evolved this time. I'm pretty sure he evolved during session 8. So I had him evolve into Orbeetle, or yeah, it was a guy. And I like Orbeetle's design. Kind of reminds me of an Ultra Beast, personally. And it's definitely the better Ladybug Pokemon. That, I guess I'll be blunt. It pretty much is the better. It's the better Ladybug Pokemon. It's like Ladybug now has no reason to live, which is depressing. It is very, very depressing. But yeah, I really like Orbeetle's design. Kind of reminds me of the Ultra Beast. It's very slick, sharp design with the nice round ladybug thing at the very top, and I like it. But because it doesn't evolve anymore, and also because I also wanted to switch around my team, I replaced it for Duizion, or I believe that's what it's called. Scrolling down the decks. Where is it? Come on, Duizion. I think it's fucking somewhere here. Where is it? You've got to be kidding me with this shit. Duizion. And there it is. Yep, it's Duizion. Or Duozion? I've never used the Solosis line before. I've caught Solosis, but I've never personally used it. And so, yeah, so I replaced Orbeetle with Duizion because I've never used Duizion before, and I wanted to use it for once. So I decided to, so I grinded my Pokemon, and they were up to level 35. I also evolved Ziggy into an Obstagoon. Now, if you don't know what an Obstagoon is, allow me to explain. So, essentially, Obstagoon, well, okay, it's not the first. Actually, it is. Obstagoon is the first, both revealed and on the decks, is the first regional evolution. What does that mean? So in this case, what that means is you have Galarian Zigzagoon and Galarian Linoon. When Galarian Linoon levels up to level 35 at night, because this was the point where I was at night, so I evolved my Linoon into an Obstagoon. And yeah, I'm still in session 8. Yeah. So I evolved my Linoon into an Obstagoon, and I like its design. But continuing, It is an evolution of a regional variant that is exclusive to that regional variant. While it's technically not our first regional variant evolution, that would be Berserker. But I figured I'd save this for Obstagoon because Obstagoon was the first one to be revealed, and on the decks is also the first one. Um, on regional final evolutions, personally, I am a fan of Obstagoon. Actually, I should go to regional variations to see. So, as for the Galarian evolutions, I like them for the most part. There aren't many of them. I think there's only six. There are only six, but they're almost all pretty good. I think the only one I'm not exactly fond of, but I don't hate it either, is Berserker. The only reason being, the only reason I don't really care for Berserker that much is because I don't understand the need for Berserker. Because, again, Meowth already has another form. And I just didn't see the point of having, another Meowth form. But as for most of the designs and just the Pokemon in general, pretty big fan. Mr. Rhyme is a very cool one. And I know everybody loves Sirfetch'd. And I like Cursula, which I definitely want to catch at some point, so I have to look up where to catch one. Because I definitely like Cursula, so I definitely want to get it at some point just for fun. And, actually, I should just look where Cursula is. One of the interesting things, though, about Cursula is that apparently its, lower part of its body is just the bottom part of its Cursula body, which I find is rather funny. It's just something really funny I noticed. Let me see. So it's available in Giant's Mirror, I'm guessing in the water? I don't exactly know. Oh no, it's in the overworld. It's just a rarity of fucking 5. So, and max raid battles, so I guess I'll have to look there. But, yeah, for most of the regional evolutions, pretty big fan. My only issue with them, and I'll be blunt, is that, one, when it comes to the regional forms, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them from Kanto. 2 from Hoenn, 1 from Johto, and 1, 2, 3, 4 from Unova. And for the evolutions, 3 of them are from Kanto, 1 is from Johto, 1 is from Hoenn, and 1 is from Unova. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of the overrepresentation of Gen 1. I know that's something that a lot of people don't care about, or I guess just kind of realize, but I don't like Gen 1 pandering, especially in this generation. This generation is Gen 1 pandering to the maximum, and it is becoming too much. It is becoming way too much. I am not a fan of the way that Gen 1 is overrepresented here. Specifically with Charizard. We're going to definitely be talking about Charizard later on, because I really want to save a part just for Charizard to discuss why I have a lot of issues with Charizard's inclusion in this game. Yeah, but we will be doing that probably in the final thing when we fight against the champion. But then again, there's also the post game or whatever there is of it. So yeah, evolved him into an Obstagoon, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I also evolved my Coughing into Galarian Wheezing, and I just got it because Galarian Wheezing is just so funny. I don't plan on ever using it. I just found it funny that I had to have it. Yeah, and I do plan on collecting all the Galarian forms just for having them and for the sake of, covering them. The interesting thing about it, though, is that it is fairy type, and design wise, does not scream fairy. It actually looks like a dark type, design wise, but it is a poison fairy type, which is a unique typing. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't have any problems with that. I just kind of find it a little weird, but at the end of the day, designs don't have to 100% be the typing. So, so then I encountered a wild colossal, which is the final evolution of Roly Coly, and I caught it. It was a pain in the ass, but I managed to catch it. Um, it's pretty much Golem. Um, it's pretty much a variant of Golem. Not literally, because it's not like a form of Golem, but when it comes to design wise, because getting a look at it right now, when it comes to its design, kind of screams Golem because it's just a giant rock monster. Now I know we have Gigalith or whatever. God, see, I'm trying to find it, but damn. Okay, there it is. I understand we have Gigalith, you know, but Colossal looks a lot more identical, just in shape, to to Golem. That I can't help but think that it was supposed to be another form of Golem that just got switched into another Pokemon. I mean, either way, I do like Colossal's design. It's like a giant volcano type thing, except with coal. And I can live with that. I don't really have a problem with it. Yeah, I can live with that type of stuff. So, I caught it. Was a pain, but I caught it, and I'm okay with that. So, Mason finally evolved into an Inteleon. And I guess I'll say it here. In the case of the starters in this game, yeah, Inteleon's pretty much my favorite, and is pretty much the only one I like. I'm not really a fan of Scorbunny. Scorbunny to me, and one of the big issues I have with Scorbunny, it's a firefighting type. It really is. I know it is a fire type. Like all of the starters in this gen are just pure their same type for the entirety of their evolution line. But both design wise and from what I've gathered, move pool, it's pretty much, a firefighting type. A lot of the moves it gets in its move pool are either fire or fighting. you know. And a lot of the moves that it can learn are fire and fighting. It is a firefighting type, and I just don't like its design. It just looks way too generic to me. You know, it does have the best animated. It does have the best animation for an attack in this game, with its pyro ball, but that's really about it to me. I understand the appeal of this line ultimately. I don't have a problem with this line. Yeah, I just don't think it's very interesting to me. And it just oozes firefighting, which I don't like firefighting. To be honest, don't really like firefighting. Kind of tired of firefighting. Still tired of it since Emvor. I just don't like firefighting. As for Grookey, not a fan of Rillaboom. Just no. I am not a fan of Rillaboom. Rillaboom is just I don't even really know what to say about it. There's just so much wrong with it that I just don't like. It's part of it kind of feels offensive to me. But I don't know what to pin down, on that one. The only thing I can say is I'm just not a fan of its design. It looks just dumb to me, and I'm not really a fan of it. I don't like Thwacky either. I think, So, yeah, Sobble's line is pretty much the best line in the game for me when it comes to the starters. Yeah. And, I just like Intellion's whole sniper secret agent type thing. I guess it's supposed to be based on maybe James Bond? I suppose. That's my only thing that I can gather, given, the things that it does. But, that's all I've got on that. So I did more grinding, and then we went to Hammerlocke. And holy shit, is Hammerlocke fucking massive. It's a castle. It's a giant fucking castle. And I'll be blunt, I like Hammerlocke. I think it's a very beautiful looking area of the game. The textures are fine. I like how, the stone textures on the ground look like dragon scales. It's a good place. And, it seems to be following the same formula from the first half of the game. Hammerlocke is actually the place where the final gym of the game, Gym 8, resides. However, it serves as the hub city for the remaining 5 gyms. So, you will be using Hammerlocke to travel to Gym 4, 5, 6, and 7. Or rather accurately, you'll use it to travel to Gym 4 and 6. And, and back from 5 and 7. But, as for a hub, I'm okay with it. I'm perfectly fine with a second hub to this game. And I'm okay with this formula, I guess. It does make the linearity of the game a lot more obvious. This game is very, very linear. I think that, but, then again, that's kind of how Pokemon's been since I would say since Gen 5. Gen 4, while linear plot-wise, isn't exactly linear in design, where in Gen 4, when you had to get to a certain gym, it could be on the entire fucking opposite side of the map. In the case of Gym 6 to Gym 7 in that game, Gym 6 was all the way to the west, while Gym 7 was way up north, had no, it wasn't because in a lot of other Pokemon games, the gyms are oh, it's the next city over, it's the next city over, it's the next city over. I'm just not personally a fan of that design, but, I think it worked in Gen 5. Gen 5 Part 1 specifically. After that, the linearity just kind of got too much. And it's kind of, I give Alola a pass for it because Alola was just too small. It's an island. There's not going to be that many, actual paths to go through. So I give Alola a pass, but I can't give, a region like, Galar or, Kalos a pass on that because, they're relatively large areas. So, yeah. But yeah, this style kind of makes it a lot more obvious how linear the game is. But I saw Oleana, Bede, and Rose gathered up. So I went to the Pokemon Center, got myself healed, and I just walked around and got myself some items, got myself some stuff, and wow, they got a lot of different clothes here, and I really like them. So I gave this guy my Applin for a bit, and this was where something was revealed to me. It was actually revealed to me via a webcomic or I guess not really a webcomic, it was a dub of a webcomic that I saw on YouTube, which had Marnie confess her feelings to the protagonist. Which, yeah, I'm guessing that, yes, that is probably one of the bigger ships of this game is Marnie X protagonist. Which is fine. I perfectly understand it. Um, I thought it was a pretty cute video altogether, though I wish that, the characters had British accents, except for the main character. The main character had a British accent, but the other ones didn't, and I didn't understand why, considering, or not British, but just English accents in general for these characters, because that's how they're supposed to talk. But apparently, if you give somebody an applin, it is essentially confessing your feelings. And so he gave me a sweet apple after that, and I evolved my applin into a Appleton, which is a Pokemon that a lot of people like. Appleton is basically just a giant apple pie. But, ooh, yeah, reading its dex entry, let me find it, because its dex entry is pretty fucked up. Like, it's kind of like, it kind of makes you question shit. I gotta find it. Fuck. La 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 la. Where the fuck is it? God, why does it take so long just to find things? Speaking of, I gotta get myself a Milcery at some point. Don't know when I'm gonna do that, but I kinda have to do that. Just so I can talk about its fucking evolution stuff. There it is. There's there's Appleton. So, Appleton is only available in Shield. Because Applin can evolve into two different Pokemon. It can evolve either into Flapple, which is a Sword exclusive, because the evolutionary thing for that can only be found in Shield or in Sword, while the evolutionary thing for Appleton can only be found in You get what I'm getting at. So as for that, so apparently, when it eats, eating Flapple is revealed where, depending on the type of apple that it eats, it evolves into a certain form. So if it eats a sweet apple, it becomes a Appleton. And one of the things it says for its description is its body is covered in sweet nectar, and the skin on its back is especially yummy. Children used to have it as a snack. Used to have it as a snack. That's so fucked up. It's so fucked up in so many fucking ways. I don't have the words to describe how fucked up that is. Like, that makes me feel scared. It makes me afraid, and I don't like that. But, yeah, I think Appleton's a pretty cute Pokemon. It's a big baby. It's a big chunky baby with apple pie for a back. And that's cute. Not much to say, though, on it. That's about all I have on it. So after that, I interacted with Rose, Bede, and Oleana, and for the most part, it basically shows that Bede is really dedicated to Rose, and Rose doesn't really give much of a fuck. I mean, he's happy, but he doesn't really seem to care about Bede. He's more like, he's just a nice guy in general, but he doesn't give special attention to Bede, despite the fact that, Bede's like his adopted son, if you think about it. Yeah, not literally, but he is his ward. So, after that, Oleana and Bede go to talk about other stuff, and Rose basically invites us into the Hammerlocke Stadium, which we find out that Hammerlocke Stadium also doubles as a energy plant. So there's a bunch of energy, I guess, that's made because of how the gym works. I don't know if it's from Dynamax, but from what I can tell, Rose's plan is that he wants to use Dynamax energy to power up the Galar region, which I guess makes sense given that it kind of comes to a it kind of comes from, you know, I mean, considering they're all over the place, it makes sense considering the whole Watts thing and how that works. So yeah, that's a pretty decent goal. And so Rose has to leave and he goes to work. So I went over to the vault because, but I did talk to Pokeball guy and he gave me, or to ball guy, and he gave me a heavy ball. So I'm gonna be saving that for later, probably for a Gigantamax Snorlax encounter. Um, and then suddenly out of nowhere, Leon showed the fuck up, and he found out that yes, it was revealed that Hop lost to Bede in that battle. So Hop flat out apologized to Leon, and Leon's like, "It's cool, dude. You don't have to feel bad about it." Yeah, I guess that loss really hurt Hop a lot. We'll be talking about that later. But yeah, I think I'll state it now. It is obvious, but the arc for Hop is based on an inferiority complex. He thinks that he's inferior to his brother because his brother is the quote unquote unbeatable champion, and that's understandable. I think a lot of people get like that. I've gotten like that before, looking at my siblings' successes and, comparing to my own, feeling like, I don't do good enough, I don't amount. Yeah, I think it's a feeling we all have at one point or another. Unless you don't have a sibling, then I guess you still have that feeling, but in regards to other things. So, yeah. Yeah, in my opinion, with Hop, he is a good battler. I think the point is he doesn't have the patience to keep himself strategically sound in battle. But considering that Leon still has hope in him, he isn't a bad battler. He does have talent. It's just too bad that we kick his ass on every occasion because, well, he picked the weaker starter, and I've been playing Pokemon since I was 4 fucking years old. So, yes, I know how to play the fucking game, so it doesn't really matter what Hop does. I will always kick his ass. And I feel bad, but, whatever. And so we head to the vault, and we get to say hello to Raihan. And Raihan's going to be the final boss for this portion of the game, because he is our 8th gym leader. He's the Dragon-type gym leader. And to a lot of the fan base, he is very, very attractive. Don't blame. I don't blame anybody for that. Yeah, I think he's a cool-looking design. But outside of that, he just kind of seems like he's a dude, bro. That's what he is. He's a dude, bro. Yeah, he kind of looks goofy, though, because he's wearing, like, short shorts and a bulky-ass sweater that it just doesn't look right on him. But whatever. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. The best part, though, of this interaction is that he doesn't know my name, so he looks it up on his fucking phone. And that got a laugh out of me. That was actually kind of funny. So he's got this vault, and so we go into the vault, and he handed me his league card. And I wanted to see, there were a bunch of trophies there, and I wanted to see if they were actually for anything, but sadly, they are just decorations, they don't have any text. So we head into the vault, and there is a mural there depicting the Darkest Day event, and Sonya is there. And of course, we discussed the Darkest Day thing when they fought with the Sword and Shield. The difference here is that, unlike Motostoke, this has 2 characters instead of 1. In Motostoke, there's the statue of the hero of Galar wielding a shield and a sword. A sword and a shield, respectively. But he is not, he is the only one. In this one, it is portrayed that there are 2 heroes of Galar, which is interesting. And I do want to point out that one of the 2, apparently This is the creation of the kingdom of Galar. And I'd like to point out that one of the two boys that is shown in the image actually kind of looks like Rosé. Not entirely, but the hair is relatively similar, kind of design-wise, that I figured that'd be something to point out. I don't know if it's important or if it has any actual relevance to the plot, but I figured it was something interesting to point out. Kind of looks similar to him. Yeah. So there's a possibility that maybe somebody's been covering up history too. So after leaving the vault, Raihan basically wants us to beat Leon. So we have to head over to Stoan's side, which is past Route 6. And so we ended session 8 here, and we started session 9. So while this technically is still session 8, we're going to try and run through this rather quickly because I know we are already 50 minutes in. And I would like to keep these two parts together. So I'm going to make this quick because we really only cover two things, and that is Route 6 and Stoan's side. So for Route 6, there's a little bridge at the very beginning of the route, and we travel over it, and there's these Team Yell guys that are just standing there, and they yell at me because I might wake up the Sandacobra or whatever it's called. I forget its name. It's one of the new Gen 8 Pokemon. Oh, I fucking find it. There it is. Silicobra. So, there's a Silicobra there, and Team Yell is, yelling at us because they think that we're gonna wake it up. And the game fucking has this random-ass old lady come over and it's like, if I promise not to wake it up, can I go? And they're like, sure, you can go. And it's like, are you fucking serious? That was funny, because that was a good gag. But, really? But, I don't understand why Team Yell gives a shit. But then Hop shows up, and he doesn't even, and the other funny thing is that the grunts are literally screaming at me and stuff, and it's like, wouldn't that wake up the fucking thing? So Hop shows up, and he doesn't double battle with me. He just doesn't do anything. He is depressed because he got his ass kicked by Bede. So he kind of just stands there and watches me beat the shit out of the Team Yell guys. And looking at the background of the battle background, I realized what this route was. This is the route with the infamous time-stopping ladders, and we'll get more onto that later. But man, when the fact that I was able to figure that out, already made me feel like, oh fuck, we're going here, aren't we? So, Hop basically gets really fucking depressed. And, he makes it, he kind of makes this statement that I really like. Basically, he got beaten by Bede, and, normally Hop is pretty good at taking losses, but Bede said something to him that made him feel really bad, which was basically that by being by being defeated so badly that, he is marring the name of his brother, and he feels like he, doesn't want to do that to his brother, and, and the best part about this scene is it does not show Hop's face. So, it lets you imagine what Hop's expression is. It's pretty damn heartbreaking. Considering that people claim that Hop is probably the worst Pokemon rival, period. I disagree. I think Hop is a very good rival. He's a very good rival. Um, he gets actual character development. This is, this is a good thing, and the character development continues into the post game. Actually, um, this is development. This is fucking character development. It is very, very rare that a character in this franchise gets genuine character development, much less character development that makes sense. In the context of this game, it makes sense that Hop would feel inferior. His brother is the fucking champion of the region and has probably been the champion since Hop was probably not born, but since Hop was a really young child. Considering that, yeah, I think Leon did his first challenge at the age of 10. So either Hop wasn't even born at that point, or Hop was literally just a child, like a really young child at that point, and he's grown up under his brother's shadow his whole life. It makes sense that he feels so dedicated to his brother because he loves his brother. He wants to, and he wants to surpass his brother, and being told that to his face, kind of destroys the man inside. It kind of hurts the fuck out of him, and that makes sense. And, he realizes that he feels bad, about it. He can't get the words out of his head. And, yeah. People say that Hop is the worst rival. Allow me to point out something to you. No. You want to know who the worst rival in Pokemon is? Do you want to know? It's not the X and Y rivals. It isn't Hop. It isn't How. It isn't Gladion. It isn't them. No, the worst Pokemon rival in the entire series is Hugh from Black and White 2. And allow me to explain why. Hugh does not develop. Hugh's motivation takes up most of the plot, and it doesn't help that his motivation is that he has to find his sister's cat. His sister's fucking cat. And not just that, his unnamed sister with a generic sprite who only shows up once in the entire game. Hugh will take over the entire plot of Black and White 2 for portions at a time. When you are not just doing your gym battle, you are helping Hugh out with his fucking quest. Hugh takes over the story and makes himself the main character of Black and White 2. Hugh is so much worse, but people consider that Hugh is a better rival than Hop simply because Hugh is edgy and dark. Hugh is not edgy. Hugh is a fucking friendly rival. He just looks edgy, because design. But people, it is utter fucking bullshit that people think that Hop is inferior to Hugh. Hugh is such a bland, one-dimensional piece of shit character, that whose existence is part of one of the reasons why I hate Black and White 2 as a game. And, I hate it almost as much as I hate this game. I hate Black and White 2 as a game for its narrative. This game I hate because of the problems surrounding it. And that's, there's a big difference. I can't enjoy Black and White 2 as a story or really as a game because in that regard, when I go to play it, I know I'm going to get annoyed because I'm going to be playing and facing off Hugh every fucking 5 seconds because Hugh always shows up to take over the plot. So I'd like to make it very clear. Hop is not a bad rival. Hop is fine. Hop is a good rival that gets actual development throughout the course of the fucking game. You want a bad rival? Hugh is a bad rival. He gets no development. He doesn't change from the beginning to the end. He is a dick from the beginning. He's a dick at the end. He does not change. Okay? He gets his fucking goal, and he does not change. So, let that be a lesson. Okay? I just figured I'd get that off my chest because I am so sick and tired of hearing Hop be considered the worst fucking rival in the series when in reality he's a harmless fucking rival. Okay? And of course, Opal so the 5th gym leader, Opal, kind of showed up out of random, and she gave me her league card So, as for Raihan's league card, he is considered the most powerful gym leader in the region, and apparently would be a champion of a league if he decided to leave Galar. But his whole purpose in life is basically to beat Leon. He also seems to be Instagram dude bro and posts a lot of selfies, so that's cool, I guess. As for Opal, Opal is the oldest gym leader in Galar, and she took over for her mother 70 years ago. And I think Opal is supposed to be a parallel to Queen Elizabeth, because I think Queen Elizabeth took over as queen in, like, I think either the 30s or the 40s, which is way more than 70 years ago at this point. But it's kind of a similar time frame. Um, but she believes that her value's at their limits, so she's looking for a successor. So I guess she was looking at us as possibly a successor. I don't know. Maybe that's why she kind of showed up. But, I would like a game where our player character gets to become a gym leader, because that would be a pretty cool concept. Um, but she's the fifth gym, so we're going to be facing her relatively soon. Um, so we'll save more of that discussion for when we get to that. Route 6, I do like its distinctly orange feeling. And yes, this is the ladder with this is the route with the ladders. And we'll get to that real quick, but wow, the textures in this area look terrible. I was looking at the walls and they look so ugly and gross. And, there's the shitty tree textures. I just don't get it. I don't. I don't think I'll ever get why the textures in this game look so fucking bad. It's just not something I like. And while I was there, I caught myself a Yamask. So, I wanted to get myself a Yamask because it is a Galarian Yamask. And, I wanted to have a Galarian Pokemon. So, there we go. Apparently, it was attached to this tablet because it was drawn to a vengeful spirit. So, and also I like its ability where if it gets hit, it switches its ability with the other Pokemon, which is kind of interesting. And so I evolved it, or I'm planning on evolving it, just for the sake of having a Runerigus, but that's just me. And finally, Navis evolved into a Corviknight, and holy shit. I love Corviknight's design. It is one of the reasons I decided to get this game. Corviknight is one of the best looking Pokemon I've ever seen in a Pokemon game. I know its typing isn't exactly unique because, yes, it is a flying steel type like Skarmory. So it isn't entirely unique, but I don't really care. I think Skarmory is literally the only other one with that type anyway. And Corviknight is just such a massive beast. It's a raven that is a knight. It's just so cool. Yeah, it's just so cool design-wise. I love it. Yeah, I love it. It has armor. Yeah, it has knight armor. It looks cool, and it helps with the taxi service. It's just so cool. Okay, so yeah, this is the route where the where the world stops when you climb the ladders. And I'm sorry, it just feels wrong. It's like, it really does. Because you'll see the trainers moving, but then as soon as you climb the ladder, poof, they just stop. They just freeze, and it's like, woo! Like, I know it's a minor detail, but it's just so bad and awkward. It's just so bad. Like, no, this is just not okay. This is not good. This isn't polished. It's not immersive or anything. Another interesting thing about this section, though, there are a few backpackers here, and one of them actually speaks Spanish, which was something I realized, which I thought was pretty cool. Maybe that's a reference to Spain. Maybe we'll be getting a future Spain mainline entry for a region. I'd be down with that. Spain and Portugal, that'd be pretty cool. Personally, I'm more interested in getting, like, I don't really know. I kind of want to see what a Russia Pokemon game would look like. Yeah, or something along those lines, or shit, an Africa one. But for right now, I'm okay with yeah, I am okay with thinking of a Spanish region. Yeah, and so we also get our first fossil Pokemon, and it's Dracovish. Oh my god. Okay, so on the fossil Pokemon, look, I understand the fossil Pokemon are beloved for how fucked they are, just design wise. They are really fucking weird Pokemon. Like that's just the truth. They're really fucking weird. Just design wise and everything. They're fucking weird. And I get that was the joke, but part of me really, really doesn't like it very much. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, part of me thinks that this is just a bit too fucking much of a joke. And considering we haven't gotten new fossils since Gen 6, it's rather disappointing. You know, they could have done so much with it, but like, it's just these fucking messes of Pokemon. You get, like, there's a fucking dragon bird with the fucking fish leg, fish with or fish with a fucking dragon tail and fucked up legs. And and the thing is, they can't breathe above water. So it's like its mighty legs are capable of running at 40 miles per hour, but the Pokemon can't breathe unless it's underwater. I get that's the joke, but fuck, like, I think that's a bit much. Yeah, I don't hate them. I just think it's a bit much. And so Hop was standing in front of the gym, and it was time for another rival battle. And yes, it was. He has a Cramorant, which is I don't really care about it because it's just kind of another Pelican. And considering Pelipper and that already exists, I just wasn't very interested in it. It doesn't help that its design is very forgettable to me. But he did switch out his team since last time, which is pretty cool. And he does point it out afterwards. Um, so, hey, at least he's learning that he has to accept that he isn't, he doesn't have to be defined by his brother. And his brother is fine, his brother doesn't want him to be defined by him either. So, hey, Hugh, take some fucking notes for character development, you fucking asshole. And then Opal just appears again and scares the shit out of me, and she basically makes a point where there's no reason to be saving the champion's name. He's already unbeatable, so there really isn't, she basically makes a point that Hop's journey isn't for himself right now. It's because he wants to prove himself to his brother, or prove that his brother is good when everybody already knows that he is. Yeah. So, yeah. She also gave me Allister's trainer card, which is cool. And then I went a little further on to a part where we can't go all the way, but I went into this nice little forest area that looks pretty beautiful design-wise. It's got these little mushrooms. So I encountered an Impidimp, and I caught one, and I really like Impidimp. I just think it's such a goofy-looking Pokemon. And its evolutions are kind of also equally as goofy, though the hair gimmick is a little bit creepy, I'll just be blunt. But, that's just me. Outside of that, I also caught myself a Hatrim. A Hatrim? I think that's what it's called? I'm not entirely sure on that one. Hatrim. Pretty sure that's what it's fucking called. Yeah. Hatrim. I caught myself a Hatrim because, I wanted to catch one at some point. So, it was kind of cool. And then there's a mural at the very top of Stow-on-Side that seems to be something from a very long time ago. And it's got a crack in the middle of it, what looks to be a signature. and it's flowers and a sword and a shield, so it's probably a monument to the whole Darkest Day thing. And so, moving on, we finally face against Allister. Now, the interesting thing about Gym 4 is that if you're playing Gym 4, it's the version that you will be playing will base which gym leader you'll be fighting. In Sword, you'll be fighting against the gym leader B, and in Shield, you'll be fighting against the gym leader Allister. And I know this is something that is, something from Black and White, with the whole Iris, it was a very small thing. It was Iris and Drayden, depending on which game. But I think this is a lot better because not only are the leaders entirely different, but the typing they use is also entirely different. So it gives a much more unique playthrough depending on which version you own, which is pretty neat. I'm perfectly down with that. Yeah, they have very similar team setups with both of their final Pokemons being very popular Kanto trade Pokemon, Machamp for B and Gengar for Allister, respectively. Though B has only fully evolved Pokemon on her team, she just has evolved Pokemon on her team, while Allister does not. Allister has an unevolved Yamask on his team. So I figured that was interesting to point out. So reading Allister's trainer card. He took on the mantle of gym leader at a very young age and has never removed his mask in public. He has at least 100 different masks of the same design. And yes, he looks like a shy guy. That is the joke. He's apparently an orphan, or actually, no, he isn't. But when he was 4 years old, he has had an ability to see dead ghost-type Pokemon. So, hey, that's cool. As for B, I don't know about B's backstory. I just never played it. And, I don't have Shield, and that's it. So I saw Ball Guy again, and he gave me a ball, and that was that. So, as for the gym mission, kind of weird one. Basically, you have to ride in a spinny cup and just turn to reach the goal, and you have to use the control stick to maneuver your way there. It's not really a Pokemon gym. I didn't find it too interesting. I didn't hate it, but I just kind of found it meh. At this point, I decided I'm not filming the voids anymore. I think we already are aware that every single gym in this game is going to be voids, and I just don't have the time or the energy to even fucking bother anymore. I just don't care. I've gotten to the point where I do not care anymore. It's something it's like I don't accept it. It just is. And it's just like there's nothing I can do about it, and the joke is just fucking old at this point. So this place introduces us to Galarian Corsola, which is straight up just a ghost-type Pokemon. Not a water ghost-type. It is a straight-up ghost-type Pokemon, and that is really interesting. It's also the only Johto Pokemon to get any representation in that regard, and it even gets an evolution in the form of Cursola, which is basically just a bigger Corsola. But you know what? I appreciate it because Gen 2 doesn't get a lot of representation in general. So, hey, I'm glad that it got any representation at all. Yeah, that was the gym challenge. Wasn't much to it. So it's time to face against Allister. And I really do like this interaction between Allister and the player. He can barely fucking talk. Like, he just mutters, and then his purple eyes glow up underneath the mask. It's really cute. And yeah, he starts out with a Yamask, pretty easy to beat. Yeah, then his next Pokemon is Mimikyu, which pretty much knocked it out with Corviknight and Steel Wings, so that wasn't much of a challenge. Then he sent out his third Pokemon, which was Cursola. And you know what I realized, which I think I might have brought up earlier? Cursola's body is actually like, it actually still has the lower part of its original Corsola body still attached to it, which is kind of fucked up in its own little way. I found that kind of fucked up, but it's also kind of funny. I figured I'd just point that out because I thought it was kind of fucking funny. Um, so his final Pokemon is Gigantamax Gengar, and I like the way he throws the ball. Um, yeah, I don't think I said much else though on that note. And as for Gigantamax Gengar, it's pretty much just a giant void looking thing. Like not, but it's like a doorway to the underworld looking thing, and that's kind of unique. Actually, if I really had to compare it to anything, it kind of looks like God, I forgot the name of the Ultra Beast. Give me a second. Guzzlord. It kind of looks like Guzzlord, you know, in design. Not entirely, but the concept is definitely the same. Um, so I eventually beat Gengar. It was relatively difficult, and hey, now we can catch Pokemon at the 40th level, which, whatever, you know. Um, yeah, it was all right. Overall, these two sessions, they were okay. I think that's kind of how these sessions are at this point. They're just okay, which isn't good enough to me. You know, they're just getting boring. But hey, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time. Oh, I'm still recording.